Welcome investors. My name is Kevin Vincent. I'm part of the MarketsMojo's product team. And today I will be taking you through some of our key premium features. Right? At the end of the webinar, I hope that you get a value out of this and hopefully you can use the MarketsMojo's premium services a whole lot better. Right? Simple, long story short, I want you to extract as much value from our services as possible. Right. So before we get started, the disclaimer. We emphasize that all investors should use the information on the webinar merely as a resource to enhance their own research and understanding. Nothing discussed in this webinar should be considered investment advice. We strongly advise all participants to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions. Investment in securities is subject to market risks. Past performance should not be construed as a guarantee for future returns. Investments in equity and equity-related securities involve high degree of risk, and users should not invest unless they can afford to take the risk on their investments. Before we get started, I'd like to highlight that MarketsMojo, it's MarketsMojo's 9th anniversary, and we are giving, and to celebrate this occasion, we are essentially giving out one of our lowest discounts out there. People might notice that so we give out discounts, but these discounts, which is not going to last for a long time, is essentially the lowest that we offer. It's only available for a few days. Essentially, if you buy a 1-year subscription, you're getting 2 years free. So for Mojo 1, which normally costs 1.5 lakhs, essentially we're giving it out for 25,000 only for 1 year, and you get 2 years free, essentially reducing the cost even further. For Mojo Pro, something that costs 60,000 rupees, essentially is going to be available for 17,999 for 3 years in total, right? We buy for 1 year and get 2 years free. Keep in mind that these discounts essentially will not be available on the website. These discounts essentially will be available only for for the webinar users. So just take advantage of them. You'll find the link in the description. If in the YouTube, you might be watching it on YouTube. So at the bottom, if you just scroll down, you'll find the link in the description. Keep in mind, we are ending this soon. We only have limited spots left. I think hopefully you get a few of them, or obviously stick around for the webinar so you can extract as much value from the webinar as possible. All right. So today, essentially, we'll start off by researching our company, and I will take you through a good journey here, and hopefully you can. So let's get started. All right. Okay. So now at MarketsMojo, we research a lot of all the listed companies. Unlike we just don't use it as an as a marketing gimmick. Essentially, we have coverage on all the listed companies, and it's all data driven. That's why it's possible, right? There is no element of human biases that are coming into the picture, right? There is no FOMO. There is no element of FOMO, right? People fear of missing out. By the way, that's what it's referred to. We are our analysis is purely data driven. Unfortunately, a lot of people fall to this bias, right? Where the markets are really climbing up, and you're just watching the news, and then you see some guy promoting a specific company. You look at the price. The price is also doing that. Has some momentum going for itself, and you, without or at least with some surface level research, essentially just go and buy it, right? And essentially, this is exactly what happened during the .com bubble back in the 90s. The other bias that a lot of people face, and which we essentially eliminate, or our methodology essentially eliminates this, is confirmation bias, right? A lot of people essentially just, if I like, for example, let's say I like Inox Wind, and I love it. Like I have invested a decent amount of money in it, and essentially whenever a news report comes up, right? A negative news report comes up, I will actively avoid it or discount it as the basis for the negative views is not strong, and so on. And you keep looking for news that, or essentially views that essentially matches with yours, confirming your bias, confirming your views, right? So that's confirmation bias. So essentially, MarketsMojo cuts through all those biases and gets to the point, right? So if you are on the platform, you can essentially just go to the search bar and search for the company. Now I want to look into Inox Wind. So I'm already here. I just need to click on it and I'm on the company's name, right? Apologies. Right. So at MarketsMojo, essentially we are researching a company based on four elements, right? The first one is quality, right? Keep in mind that these dots, these factors that I'm referring to, the four ones, are essentially represented in the dot format right next to the name, right? Okay, so the first one, quality. Quality essentially represents the long-term fundamental strength of the company, right? Now itself is based on three factors. The first one is your management risk, the growth of the company, and the capital structure of the company, right? In this case, Inox Wind's quality is not looking that great. It's below average, and we'll get into why later. But essentially, the growth factor essentially looking at what is the long-term growth of the company, what is the sales growth looking like, what is the EBIT growth looking like, right? Capital structure essentially is evaluating what is the how much debt is in the how much debt is in the firm, right? Or what is the debt serviceability ratios looking right? And management risk. Now this is a bit interesting. I was just talking to you about how MarketsMojo just looks at data, and we are essentially just cutting through all those biases. There is no subjective element coming here. Management when we evaluate the management risk here, essentially we are not looking at the who, right? Rather, we are looking at the what. So if our hypothesis here is that if a company is being managed well, right, it is going to be reflected in the numbers, right? So in this case, essentially, it's going to be reflected in your ROC, it's going to be reflected in your ROE, and so on. So essentially, all, again, reiterating the point, it's all data, right? There is no subjective element coming here, right? So that's the first factor that was used to evaluate a company. Here, again, it's the long-term fundamental strength of the company, and that's quality. Right? The second factor used to evaluate the company is valuation. Valuation may be, I like to switch to an Hindi-English tone. We got a lot of feedback last time that मैं English में ही बात कर रहा हूँ. I need to work on that, but I'll keep it Hindi this time. So valuation में हो क्या रहा है कि ये एक फैक्टर है जो बेसिकली सबको आइडिया है, राइट? अपॉलॉजीज फॉर माय वीक हिंदी. सो बेसिकली हो क्या रहा है कि एवरीवन इज फेमिलियर विद दिस, राइट? सबको मालूम है वैल्यूएशन क्या होता है. वैल्यूएशन अगर बहुत एक्सपेंसिव होगा तो बेचने का टाइम है, या अगर बहुत अट्रैक्टिव है, राइट, तो खरीदने का टाइम है. नाउ दैट इज बेसिकली द जनरल प्रिंसिपल, राइट? हाउएवर एट MarketsMojo इट इज़ नॉट दैट सिंपल, राइट? ऑब्वियसली आपके लिए सिंप्लिसिटी के लिए हम बता रहे हैं कि अभी कौन से रेंजेस में आते हैं, राइट? बट आई विल टेल यू ये रेंजेस, ये नंबर्स कैसे आ रहे हैं. ओके, सो MarketsMojo में वी आर नॉट लुकिंग एट डिस्काउंटिंग कैश फ्लो मेथड फॉर आइडेंटिफाइंग व्हाट द वैल्यूएशन ऑफ द कंपनी इज. वहाँ पे क्या प्रॉब्लम है कि वहाँ पे एसेंशली देयर इज एन एलिमेंट ऑफ एस्टिमेशन रिस्क, राइट? यू एसेंशली इफ योर ग्रोथ रेट और योर डिस्काउंट रेट एसेंशली चेंजेस बाय अ फ्यू परसेंटेज, द इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू इज गोइंग टू बी significantly different, right? So we are going with a simple yet effective approach of valuing a company. It's relative valuation, right? And relative valuation for people for simplicity's sake, or a lot of people, what people understand is basically you're looking at the price multiples or the earning multiples of the industry, comparing the companies the same multiple and seeing where it lands. अगर वो प्राइस मल्टीपल एसेंशली अगर वो इंडस्ट्री के पी के ऊपर आ रहा है, देन इट इज़ लाइकली एन ओवर वैल्यूड कंपनी, इट्स टाइम टू सेल, राइट? बट इफ इट इज़ अंडर द इंडस्ट्री पी, it is an undervalued company and it is time to buy. Now that is basically what people think, but we are not going that easy, right? We are also taking the fundamentals into our analysis, right? So fundamentals meaning it is possible, right, कि a company's fundamental is so strong that it is above its industry P, right? And so the fundamentals might demand that premium, right? So industry P यहाँ पे है your company's P is here. P is just an example. I mean, we are looking a lot more than that. But P यहाँ पे है. It might be here, not because it might be here. The conclusion might not be that ठीक है, it's an expensive company, just sell it. No, we are also looking at the fundamentals, right? It might be a very good company to be up here. Similarly, a company's fundamentals might, the fundamentals might be so bad that it might be under the industry benchmark, right? And is it an immediately like an undervalued sign ki baap re, ye to bahut undervalued hai, it's time to buy it up? No. It might also be possible that the fundamentals are so bad that the company is being discounted to such a level that it's under the industry benchmark. So in valuation, essentially, I'll keep it very simple. I'm sorry if I might be complicating things here, but valuation mein essentially we are looking at relative valuation. So we're looking at comparing it to the peers. We're comparing it to its own past, its own fundamentals. Essentially, then we are coming up with a valuation. Now that is a valuation for you, right? We are looking at, so there are a lot of your price and earnings multiples here for you to evaluate the company. So essentially, these are a few points that we are also evaluating. Right. So that is your second factor, right? It's one of these dots right here, right? So now we have taken valuation and we have taken quality. Now these are the long-term drivers of the company. And आपको अगर long-term देखना है, essentially these are the long-term drivers, right? The next two are the short-term ones. Please keep in mind that we are, ideally speaking, you should not really look at them at isolation, right? You should look at it from a holistic perspective. Now, in this case, the company is very expensive, and we'll get to the holistic view in a bit, right? So, abhi third factor. What is the third factor that is used to evaluate the company? Right? It is the financial trend. Okay, financial trend. You just click here. Keep in mind, all these sections are easily available. All you can do is just click on each of these sections and you can access them, right? Anyways, financial trend. Now, यहाँ पे essentially what we are doing is this essentially is evaluating the latest quarterly results of the company, and it's also comparing it against how has it performed compared to its past results as well, right? तो यहाँ पे basically हम जब ये result आता है, the system is essentially is learning and I am analyzing a lot of these factors, right? For example, इसका net sales देखेगा वो, results आ गया Inox Wind का. It has been published for March, right? Results आ गया, then it's looking at, our system will essentially look at the net sales. What is the net sales looking like? 527 crores हुआ है, कितने से उसका growth हुआ है on a YOY basis, right? YOY you will find here on a QOQ basis as well, right? QOQ basis I think you'll find on the right side. Oh, okay, we'll get to this. Anyways, on a QOQ basis, has it performed well compared to its own past and its peers, right? So these are a few, keep in mind, a few points that our system essentially asks, right? And comes up with a score, right? Of, in this case, financial trend for the company is 42. And in our scale of financial trend, right here, it is at outstanding, right? Good job, Inox Wind. Now you might be noticing that there is a small and interesting looking graph right here, right? Now this is basically taking the price and the financial trend score of the company, right? And often what we have noticed is that there is a strong correlation, right? It's not a fixed correlation, and again, this is generally what we have noticed is that once the company starts posting consistently positive results, or essentially comes out with consistently positive CFT score, current financial trend score, right? The price eventually starts to catch up with starts to essentially catch up and starts to eventually reward the company, right? So in this case, आप यहाँ पे देख लो, basically इतना essentially बहुत गंदे performance दे रहा था ये company, right? And the price was also kind of quite low, at 11 rupees. And then it posted some good results for a while. The price went up, right? 31 rupees हो गया. And then again it had a streak of bad results. The price remained fairly flat. And then after a while, after a few quarters, essentially started posting really strong performance, and the price has caught up to it, right? It's currently trading at 164 rupees, right? So by the way, kind of a very strong, good performance by the company. Company has done quite well for itself. if you look at it from 2020, now 10 रुपए में था, it's more than 10x. Anyways, it's just my observation when I've just noticed that. Anyways, so this is the third factor, the financial trend. Essentially, it's looking again to reiterate the latest quarterly result of the company, right? Now the fourth point, the short term factor that is going to be used to evaluate the company. Technicals. Just click here and you go up. Big disclaimer, right? These are not intraday calls, right? These we essentially are okay. Keeping it simple and sweet, this is essentially trying to identify the long-term the long-term trend of the company, right? We are looking at 7 indicators here, MACD, RSI, the standard stuff, right? And we are looking at it from a weekly and a monthly basis, right? And essentially, uske hisab se we are essentially giving it, evaluating it from these factors, and we seeing यहाँ पे bullish दिख रहा है on a monthly scale. MACD is looking at bullish. RSI, there is no signal at the moment, and so on. So, in action, right, we see now the turned bullish, right? Ideally, now when you look at the legends here, turned bullish is represented by a triangle, a green triangle, and we notice that यहाँ पे, there we go. Back in 2023, when the price was 40 rupees, the price turned bullish, and since then it's really climbed up. So keep in mind that look at this. Look at the time period here. This is not a daily chart, right? This entire scale covers 3 years, right? 3 साल का coverage हो रहा है यहाँ पे. तो आप ये देखो, यहाँ पे हुआ back in 1 साल पहला ये this ऐसे indicator आया था कि bullish हो गया है. Since then the price is kind of reacted quite nicely to not to the trend, obviously. Essentially, the trend has identified this and it has worked well, right? So basically, 4 factors. Okay, again reiterating 4 factors: the quality, okay, the long-term fundamental strength of the company. For in this case, Inox Wind, it's not doing that well, below average, right? The valuation is also looking very expensive. Again, a long-term driver of the company, right? Then coming to the short term. Now keep in mind, your dots bhi dekh lo. These are both red, right? These essentially represented here. Now the short term drivers of the company, financial trend. Financial trend is looking very strong. 42 score chal raha hai iska. And technicals mein also looking quite bullish, right? Now, मैंने आपको एक मस्त people might be confused यार. मैंने आपको तो 4 factors बता दिए. 4 में से 2 long-term drivers are not doing that well. Short-term drivers are doing extremely well. तो मैं focus किसको दूँ? What should I really be focusing on, right? If you are confused, and you are likely going to be confused, right? To simplify your world, to your life, right? At the top of the page, right? Immediately as you search for a company, we have a dashboard. मैंने जानबूझ के फटाफट में I scrolled beyond it just to show you the workings of how it works. But this is something that essentially is the 4 factors that I mentioned work together, right? And they come up with a score of 61 out of 100. In this case, Inox Wind, 61 out of 100. In the scale that we have, right? Strong sell, hold, buy, strong buy. If the score would have been, let's say hypothetically 100, it would have been right here, and the strong buy. And the advice for the company would be a strong buy. In this case, it is hold, right? Now, why it is hold, right, is all identified here. The long-term fundamental strength is not looking that great, right? I told you, the quality. Remember that, guys. Quality is not looking that great. The debt serviceability rate is not looking that great either. Similarly, the latest quarterly results has been very strong. The net sales have been looking quite good, and a few factors, and obviously there are bullet points as to highlighting the top highlights of the results. Stock is also looking technically bullish in the bullish range, and the reasons why, right? And also looking at the valuation, also not looking that great, very very expensive. So आपको rationals मिल जाएगा यहाँ पे, right? As to why the score is 61. I just took you through a long this is a shortcut essentially, right? The summary version. You could, if you want to dive into the data, essentially it's coming to the same idea, but quality may be same. Quality, valuation, financial trend. Essentially, all of it is being boiled down in the dashboard right here, right? आपको आके score बता देगा. Now this score is for our premium users. Although our research, all of it is available to you. This score is limited, is only accessible for our premium users. So if you would like to see essentially what the score of your favorite company is, you can quickly subscribe. Limited time only. The slots are going to go away. So again, link is in the description, right? Okay. So now these are the 4 factors, right? Agar aapko, if you want to do the hard work and you need to really dive into the data, we are not just evaluating the company based on 4 factors. We are also looking at a few more factors. All of them are available right here. So a general trend you might notice, to ease your life, is the left cards, right? In each section, right? यहाँ पे returns में आप पढ़ लो, news में, quarterly results में, financials. We'll get to that. But the idea is that the left cards are essentially all going to be summary cards, right? While if you want to dive into the data, scroll to the right, right? Essentially, that's the general principle. That's essentially how you can essentially use our analysis. Now, in this case, price may we'll take each section and break it down, and so essentially you can know where you can find a specific section, right? So today's price summary. Now, unfortunately, we're doing the webinar a bit late, so you'll post market hours, right? So these numbers are likely going to remain the same. It won't change until when the market opens, right? It's going to be like a live ticker. क्या हो रहा है आपको समझेगा, right? What's happening in the market as well. Nifty is again close to its 52-week high and so on, right? You can also identify what's the price looking like sector-wise, Sensex, what's Sensex performance, kitne advance हुए. This is a very standard stuff. Now, if you go to the return section, I think most value starts coming on these levels. We are looking at the 1-year performance. Has it been outperforming the benchmark and the sector? By how much has it been doing so? Is it a high beta stock? What is the total return looking like, and so on, right? Now, quartiles also very interesting tool that we have come up with. Essentially, it is essentially trying to identify if it is, I will not do all the hard work for you. Just go through the slides yourself, cards yourselves. They're very explanatory. Essentially, long story short, is essentially telling you if it's a consistent performer or not, right? Based on comparing to its closest peers, its industry, its market cap, and so on. The next section is the news section. You'll be able to view what is corporate actions looking like. Click on full details. By the way, we have all of those. We have for people who love to dive into the data, right? All of it is available. All you have to do is click on the full details button. You have your board meetings. Recently कुछ हो रहा है कि नहीं, results का क्या scene है. Dividends, has the company declared in dividends for Inox Wind? Nothing so far. Split भी नहीं हुआ है. Bonus हुआ था back in 2024. Happened quite recently. And rights भी issue नहीं हुआ है. So basically, if you want to get into this data, it is available for you. And to make your life easier, essentially making sure that you don't have to look for information outside our platform. We also have our our news section for you, where everything regarding the company is highlighted here. Iska kya news chal raha hai, what is happening with the company, all external news pieces is all going to be here available. You don't need to venture outside, look into abhi ho kya raha hai, and so on and so forth. All of it is available. Now, for people who love to dive into the data, you have financials. You have quarterly results. Again, as I mentioned, the left card is your summary card, and on the right, आपको full if you आपको detail में देखना है, तो just keep going to the right. Similarly, the half-yearly results is available. You just need to scroll to the left. You'll see the highlights of the company. Now, as I mentioned, results, आपने notice किया होगा कि quarterly results is doing well. Net sales up by 173% on a YOY basis, and the net profits are also on has a triple digit growth, right? It is looking very well for the company. As see, that is again just to connect you to the financial trend dot. Score is high, right? So, and why is the score high? Because of the quarterly results. It's done really well for itself in the March, in the latest result that is published, right? Now, essentially, you can see a lot more data here. You can see the P&L of the company, you look at the balance sheet, cash flows, and so on, right? Now, it's something that a lot of people, I think, like to visit and view and learn essentially who's owning this company, right? Like, often a lot of people might skip this part, or maybe might not even know this step exists, right? All you have to do is just come to the shareholding section and see who owns what percentage of the pie, right? FIIs hold almost 10%, mutual funds, promoters hold like the majority stake, right? And आपको अगर देखना है कि like ये because shareholding हमेशा static नहीं होने वाला, same नहीं होने वाला, right? आपको आप जाके basically इसको full details पे click करो और आपको full detailed version मिल जाएगा, right? और पूरा आपके पुराने what is it? क्वार्टरली रिजल्ट्स के हिसाब से, राइट? प्रमोटर्स के होल्डिंग्स क्या दिख रहे हैं? प्रमोटर्स 52% थे, राइट? 52.87, एंड उसका ब्रेकअप क्या है? हु ओन्स हाउ मच, राइट? टॉप पब्लिक शेयर होल्डर कौन है? एज अ मोमेंट 5%, नो वन होल्ड्स मोर देन दैट. इन दिस केस शेयर होल्डर्स कौन है? पब्लिक शेयर होल्डर्स अबाव 1% कौन आते हैं, राइट? सो दिस इज बेसिकली आपको यू विल अंडरस्टैंड एसेंशियली. अभी दिस इज ऑल्सो क्वाइट इंटरेस्टिंग. FIIs का होल्डिंग्स कितने से बड़ा है, राइट? इफ यू सी March 2023-2024 on a YOY basis, it has FII holdings and has shot up, right, from almost 2% to 9%, right? However, on a QOQ basis, essentially it's not changed by much. MF holdings also quite straightforward. If you see insurance holding, although they were not holding much, but they have that number has also fallen down significantly, almost to holding almost nothing of it, right? And so on. So, and last but not the least, what is this company about, right? आप इंडस्ट्री में घुस गए हो, but if you would like to learn more about the company as to exactly what the company is, you can just click on full details, learn exactly its history, what it's all about, and so on, and who are its board of directors, I think, yeah, and so on. So now, and last and something that I personally do every time is basically evaluate the company's mojos, right? Stock mojo, essentially representing our 4 dots up there. You're comparing it against its peers, right? Keep in mind, isolation mein dekhna is maybe a bad idea. It is a bad idea, right? You might also want to look at what the competitors are doing, right? How are they doing compared to the company that you like, right? Comparing quality now each in individual dots to its peers. The factors that make up this PE for the company is 80 for what is Suzlon Energy is 85.51, right? And so on. So basically the idea is that you have all the resource available. Returns dekh lo aap. You'll see that Insolation Energy has generated, my God, a lot of revenue. What is it? Returns. Just Energy also mind-boggling numbers. Obviously, these are not recommendations. I'm just seeing how the competitors have performed. The company that we are learning about now, Inox Wind, has done well by itself as well, 500% in 1 year, right? So you can, and again, shareholding can also be compared. So this is basically, you are evaluating the company just like that, and you're learning almost everything about it. You're learning everything about it, right? And if you don't have time to look into that data, essentially can keep it very simple. You can just and you want to just have आपको time ही नहीं है. Look at this, right? And this summary and the score. If you have some time but not enough to learn do the complete research that I've highlighted, download the verdict report. These are real-time reports, and the best part about them are they are unique for every company out there. So essentially, you can find research reports for all the listed companies, right? And all the listed companies, and all of them are unique. Now let's look at the summary page, and you will get the idea also what I'm talking about, right? आप score समझ में आ जाएगा आपको, report is as on 27th May 7:34. It's exactly what the time is. You can't see what right, the current time, right? Why it is a hold, right? Then it's looking at these the points, the rationale as to why it's a hold. The net sales is looking that great. Stock is bullish. Again, short-term drivers are looking quite well for the company, but from a long-term perspective, from a long-term drivers perspective, it's not looking that great, right? The valuation is very expensive, and the long-term financial trend is also not looking that great. And so on, right? आप नीचे जाओ अगर आपको और समझना है about as to you want to learn more about let's say about the net sales as to why it has risen up. You can essentially break it down and learn more about how good the results were and so on. Right now, this is the verdict report. Essentially, the more you go down, the more data. You think of it as the rabbit and the hole. Basically, the more you go down the rabbit hole, the more data you are going to find. And it's not just raw data. It's basically data that you can essentially see and I understand quickly, just like that, right? Inconsistent performer. Okay, great. Consistent returns over the last 3 years against inconsistent performer against the largest large cap companies and so on. So now this is basically verdict report, right? Now, now let's say now usually we go take a different route. We usually go and look into the strategies of the company and so on. But this time we'll do it differently, right? हमने research कर लिया company को. There are a few strategies. My colleague Prashant will essentially take you through those strategies. Now this stock belongs to the momentum now stocks, right? It's a strategy. He will take you through it, but essentially it's I will essentially move past that and tell you essentially how you can add this to your portfolio and do a portfolio level analysis, right? So for every company out there, you are essentially going to find these two dots right here. Portfolio में add कर दो, watch list में add कर दो. As simple as that. Right? One-click import is also very interesting. If you want to import an entire portfolio of yours, you can do so. But for now, essentially, we are going to let's say add it to the. Let's take it step by step. Watch list में फिर portfolio में add कर देंगे. Click on watch list plus watch list. Right? Oh, the stock is already in the watch list, and we will alert you on price-sensitive information. Great, right? Go to the watch list. Now this is my watch list. I have a lot of companies. I'm tracking a lot of companies. So the key point here is that essentially you can have 5 watch lists, right? 5 accounts in the watch list, and you can, however, add as many companies in the watch list as you can, right? Ideally speaking, if you don't want to keep adding the entire market, rather break it up based on themes. Like mera account hai, this is my account. You can add your mom's account, your father's account, your whatever. Yeah, maybe if you're looking at it from a industry perspective, it's your call. Essentially break it up and then basically add companies there, right? Now in this case, now we are so basically watch list में essentially आप companies को track कर सकते हो based on not just the price levels where it's at right now, but also you can also evaluate the company based on the Mojo score. How is it looking? You can sort this as well. Now I have a lot of companies in my list, right? You can sort them based on the score, the quality, the valuation, financial trend, the score itself within the financial trend. Like I mentioned, Inox Wind, very strong performance in the latest quarterly results, and hence it has a higher score across a lot of companies that I have in my list, right? But keep in mind, guys, that again, for an unpaid user, the score section, right? The score section. Sorry, guys. It's you will see it as a blurred out section, right? So which is why I've been told that some of the slots have been picked up. So if you don't, if you want to take advantage of this, quickly click on the link in the description below. Slots are just flying off. We'll increase the number. Don't worry. It's my product team right behind the screens that saying कि ज़्यादा मत push करो, ज़्यादा नहीं है. So take advantage of this. The links are essentially going to go away. So yeah, getting back to it. As these are a premium feature, essentially won't be available for for an unpaid user. Essentially, if you're not paid, essentially this will be blurred out, unfortunately. You can also evaluate the company based on the liquidity levels. You're looking at your days volume and so on and so forth, the financials of the company, and last but not the least, something that I prefer to look at, the returns and the results, right? Results, we just are at the end of the result season. We are essentially going through one right now, right? And we can see what is the result commentary looking like, right? Best thing, actually perfectly fits the narrative I'm taking. आप CFT स्कोर के बारे में बात कर रहा था, राइट? CFT स्कोर लेटेस्ट क्वार्टरली रिजल्ट्स, करेक्ट? तो वहाँ पे स्कोर जो था, हैज़ इट इम्प्रूव्ड और हैज़ इट फॉलन, राइट? It'll tell us exactly how the results have been. In this case, Inox Wind, it has improved. The score was 31 previously, and now it is up to 42, right? It has increased. If you see these dots, right, they are not just random arrows and dots. Basically, green dot मतलब ठीक है, outperformance है, and it has also improved. Now this dot, I mean, it's a hidden feature. A lot of people might not notice this. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The dot is green, it's very positive, right? But the score has fallen, correct? It has fallen from 28 to 27. Almost, it's almost the same, but it is still fallen. This arrow is downwards, right? What is the result? Returns since result. Also a point that a lot of people look at, or maybe you're missing it. Now results, fortunately, now glad this, I had a few companies का results आ रहा है 2 दिन में 3 दिन में. Basically now the idea is that you can track these results as well over here, and if you want to dive into the results, right, we have a results section as well. I'll take a quick detour and I'll show that to you guys. You can just go to the earnings, right? It's available right here. Click on the earnings, right, and you have the results corner, right? At the moment, results wise, we are at March 2024. 52% of the companies have given a positive result so far. And based on the split of market cap, we have large, mid and small. इसमें basically total results कितने आए हैं, positive कितने आए हैं, negative कितने आए हैं. Small caps, obviously, or not obviously, basically they are leading in terms of negative results, while the large caps, the positive results is dominating, and there is a lot less of negative results, right? Also, best results किसके आ रहे हैं? Which sectors are doing very well, right? And again, which sectors are doing the worst, right? Results and analysis for 2024, you can have your own stocks here, right? All the results, the top results of this quarter, maybe something that a lot of people might be wondering right now. कि ठीक है, आपने मेरा कंपनी को बता दिया. What is, again, keep in mind, it's an holistic approach and not an isolated approach. Top results ये quarter में किसका था, right? Split based on the market cap as well, right? And so on. So this is something I would genuinely wish that you guys should go through them, right? Keep in mind that a company's financials will always change, right? Something that is good today is not likely going to be good forever, correct? Results are going to change. The performance are also accordingly going to be impacted. So one of the underrated sections that we have is the results of the earnings, is the results corner, and basically you can find it in the earnings section. This was a small detour. I really wanted you guys to have a look at this. Okay, now continuing to the watch list. Now we were at the watch list, right? तो watch list का हमने बता दिया कि you can track them based on different factors, we can look at them from different lenses. Best way of saying this, ठीक है? Now I like Inox Labs, right? I'll go back to Inox Labs. मैंने research कर दिया बराबर, right? I like it. It is long term wise not doing that great, but short term there is a decent amount of momentum, right? I want to buy the company, right? Keep in mind, not a financial advice. Please don't actually buy this company. This is just for for illustration purposes only. Okay, I click on plus portfolio. मेरे को portfolio में add करना है, कर दो. Click here. I will, we are not brokers, so this actually won't. There is no actual cash going out of this. You can, in real sense, essentially, मैं खरीद लूँगा ये मेरे broker के side में, and essentially I'll come down and I will essentially put what the investment price, what is the investment price that I got. In this case, let's say I got it at 160 rupees. Quantity, I bought 100 of them, and it's going to a specific account. Now we'll get to that later. You'll understand that quickly. Now I click on save to portfolio. Stock has been added to the portfolio. Go to portfolio. Right. Now we are over to the portfolio section. Right. It is, by the way, if you want to directly access it, just go to this portfolio section, right, and go to personal portfolios. Right. We'll get to what the one view portfolio is shortly. We have covered watch list. We have covered the model portfolio in the previous webinars, demos that we have done. And now we are the personal portfolio. Okay. Now, a lot of data is thrown at you, but the first thing that you will notice is that, hey, Kevin Vincent, that's my name, by the way. Your portfolio score is poor. Okay, great. Why is it poor? We'll get into that. But it is poor. I need to improve it. Improvement we'll get to that later. But basically, now essentially what we're doing here is we're portfolio reports that a lot of institutions, a lot of HNIs get. Essentially, we have made it accessible to to the retail market. Essentially, making sure that even you, right? Keep in mind this. You can get this report. You don't. You will get a version of this report on your portfolio. You can import your portfolio right now. You can just click on this one, click import, and get your portfolio analysis done quickly and get an institutional level analysis done for your portfolio. Institutional level, we'll get to it. Now, यहाँ पे basically आपका full एक टेबल आता है जहाँ पे आपका कंपनी का स्कोर क्या है, by the way, how much, what is the latest price looking like, what is the change, what is the investment price, how much quantity you hold, आपने कभी invest किया था, investment value क्या था, date क्या है, days gain, unrealized gain, latest value and so on. The standard stuff, but also it doesn't end there, guys. As the watch list, we also can evaluate this from multiple lenses. Contribution क्या है ये company का to your entire portfolio. Keep in mind, we have moved past that one company perspective, one company level. Now we're looking at it from a holistic perspective, right? Now we have we can also look at it from a Mojo level, the scores level, right? Now we have quality here, you have valuation, financial and technicals, portfolio का weight क्या है, and so on, right? Ratios, taxes, financials. Again, we're coming to the results. Now, if you have, for watch list is primarily meant for tracking purposes, but for watching. But if you have your company, you can essentially look at what is the results looking like of companies. Now, most of the companies I hold have already published their results, but some of them are yet to post their results. I'll keep an eye on these companies. Wellspun Corp, a Mojo stock for people who might not know or might have not attended my previous webinars. You know what, I'll keep it a secret. The top 1%, that's exactly what I'm going to say. My colleague Prashant will take you through all these features tomorrow. But yeah, skipping over. Now these are basically the table, right? Ab inko overall analysis is the next step, right? So now for a company, for a stock, essentially we are evaluating them based on 4 factors. Chalo, quiz time. What are those 4 factors? They are the answers right in front of you, right? Quality, their valuation, long-term drivers, guys. It's financial trend, and there is technicals, short-term drivers. So these are your 4 drivers. The 4 factors that you use to analyze a company, right? Now, portfolio mein we are using 7 factors to analyze your company, right? So the first one is returns. We'll take them step by step. But yeah, how am I doing overall? That's the question this section is answering, right? You can scroll to the right. Again, the logic of the stocks page also applies here. The left end side of the section essentially is the summary card. Scroll to the right, you're going to get a detailed version of these cards. Right? What is the portfolio profile looking like? Value kitna hai? How many stocks you have invested in? Just forgive me. I've invested in 50 stocks. Sector 32 hai. Tail stocks so bahut hi hai. It's almost my entire portfolio is tail stocks. And what is the portfolio breakup looking like? I've sold almost nothing. my portfolio is doing quite well. मैंने इतना invest किया था. I'm sitting at an unrealized gain of 3,78,000. Who are my overall contributors? Who is dragging my portfolio? Who are my top winners? Surprisingly, this is not an error. This basically I've just put my as I mentioned. You can put we are not actually extracting cash from this. You'll have to go and trade from your broker, right? I have put an ridiculous number here just to just to get your attention. All right. Again, keep in mind that all the cards you can access complete information by clicking on the full details and evaluating the companies. Unrealized gain कितना है, percentage wise क्या चल रहा है, latest value क्या है, how much is the value, the price of the company, and so on. Right now, this is basically now that answers your question of how am I doing overall. Right. Next question. Now, as I mentioned, we are evaluating the companies based on 7 factors. Next question: what's the returns looking like? Okay. Now, returns again. Yes, it is a holistic perspective. You can't have tunnel vision, right? You need to also look at it, compare it, and see if you're doing good or bad, right? A practice that maybe a lot of people don't do, right? Hopefully, a lot of people are increasing this. You need to evaluate and compare your performance of your portfolio against the benchmark, right? You might be up by 5%, right? Your portfolio is doing well. You have made money, but has that 5% good enough, right? सेक्टर ने उसका वो कंपनी का सेक्टर ने कैसे परफॉर्म किया है, कंपनी का मार्केट ने कैसे परफॉर्म किया है, राइट? Similarly, a lot of people tend to forget about this, but when the markets are going down, you have to also compare it against its benchmark, right? Often being BC 500, but in this case, I'll get to the benchmark selection. But when the markets are down, right, your portfolio might be down by 5%, right? Again, something that will infuriate me, right? But you also need to evaluate it and compare it against the benchmark. The benchmark might have fallen by 50%. It's a hypothetical. Let's say, okay, keeping it realistic, it might have fallen by 10% over the time period that you're comparing your performance, right? So comparison is the key here, right? You need to compare and compare and compare. So in this case, standardized comparison or having a standardized benchmark is something that we do not do, right? आपके पोर्टफोलियो में एलोकेशन लार्ज कैप में X% का होगा, 20% का होगा. आपका पोर्टफोलियो माइट बी टिल्टेड टुवर्ड्स स्मॉल कैप्स और माइक्रो कैप्स. कंपेयरिंग दैट पोर्टफोलियो अगेंस्ट द BSE Sensex is not appropriate, right? There has to be an element of comparability. They have to be comparable, right? You can't just compare with any benchmark. You can't compare your performance with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is not at all comparable, right? So in this case, essentially, we have come up with a concept of composite index, where basically we are creating unique benchmarks for you based on your allocation to market caps in your stocks market caps in your portfolio, right? So in this case, it is very straightforward. देखो आप भी पढ़ के देख सकते हो. This is essentially similar to what you've done with quartiles. You can find that data there, but what we have done is we are virtually investing the investment amount in BSE Sensex, mid cap, small cap, and track the investment in these indices, right? That is your composite index and the right benchmark for you, right? So in this case, मेरा composite index बन चुका है when I've made this portfolio. Sorry. You can see the returns that my portfolio has generated compared to its composite index, and it has done well. But as I mentioned, right, it is not an isolation play. It has not only given me my portfolio has not only given me negative returns, but has also underperformed the benchmark, right? Significant, not by 3%, right? So it's quite interesting. I think you should definitely look into this and get your own composite index, right? You might be comparing it, or God forbid, you might not even be comparing it to a benchmark. For people who are not comparing it, keep it a standard practice. Start comparing it to a benchmark, and compare it to the right benchmark, right? Get your own composite index, create a portfolio immediately. Whenever you get the chance, you can do it. It's quite simple, quite easy. All you have to do is, if you can, by the way, keep on adding companies one at a time here. You can click on add stocks, right? You can search and add for companies, and you can basically upload your portfolio and by just uploading an Excel file. we'll get to that. We'll do that properly. But let's finish this portfolio in portfolio analysis, right? So returns का हो गया sir. So next thing is now the risk section. Risk again. Returns is not the only thing that you should be looking at. It's risk-adjusted return is the right way to go forward, right? So, but keeping it simple, यहाँ पे आप risk देख लो, उसका beta क्या है compared to the Sensex. What is the sensitivity? Keeping it very simple for you guys. What is the sensitivity of my portfolio to the market? कैसा लग रहा है, right? And if you are feeling lost, कि यार क्या बोल क्या रहा है? What the hell is beta? What is volatility? What is VAR? Right? What is risk-adjusted return? We have all these I buttons, right? You might have noticed them. Click on them, you will exactly see what it's all about. Value at risk essentially is very straightforward. These are some of the standard. Just give me a moment. I'll take 10 seconds break. Okay, we're back. All right. Exactly. So risk, mein, basically you have to look at it from a holistic perspective. Can't just look at returns. You also need to evaluate it from a risk perspective as well. Keep in mind, this is happening at a portfolio level, not individual companies, right? So in this case, allocation risk, quite interesting. I have allocated almost nothing to the small and micro caps. I'm looking good right here, right? So to understand, maybe to hammer down the concept of risk-adjusted return, people often consider cryptocurrencies as the technology is revolutionary, but the returns are like groundbreaking. People have overnight become crorepati in India and across the world just because of its 1000x performance, right? But people tend to forget that the volatility, the risk is so high. People get wiped out just like that, right? So you need to look at it from a risk-adjusted return, right? It is not from a returns perspective. My God, cryptocurrency is like it's in the stratosphere. It's not even on Earth, right? But the risk also needs to be taken into consideration. So this is basically what we are evaluating. The third factor, liquidity. For people who have burned their hands by investing in companies which have in microcaps and had never had the liquidity to exit, these are for you people. I am one of them, by the way. Invest किया था मैंने एक company में, it was a micro cap, and I went with a buy and hold strategy. I just forgot about the company, and after a while I'm looking at my brokers. I'm saying, yeah, बेच ही क्यों नहीं पा रहा हूँ मैं? There are no buyers in the market, right? So basically, liquidity is also something you need to take into consideration. A company might be insanely valued, but it is worthless if you can't really sell it, right? So liquidity issue, basically it's analyzing the liquidity of the company. Quantity held is more than 10% of the 1 month's average volume. You don't want to make sure that you are not moving the market. In this case, it is very unlikely unless there are some HNI sitting in our webinar, and this is for you guys. Please don't move. This will essentially help you identify if you are going to move the market or not, and hence burn your returns. Right? Okay. The fourth point, diversification, extremely critical, right? Portfolio perspective से you need to also understand that the portfolio approach is it's not just one stock, it's a collective, correct? So यहाँ पे my portfolio is highly concentrated. I have done a horrible job while constructing a portfolio. Why is it highly concentrated? Number of stocks except for tail stocks, only 4 out of 50 companies in the last, I think it's seen on the top. And my allocation to large cap is very good. It is almost 100%. Highest sector is 54. And see, guys, look at this. It's summarizing it so cleanly. It's 95% of the top 3 holdings represent 95% of the companies, right? So it is highly concentrated. And maybe I will have to do something about it, right? Oh, we'll get to that. But ये तो analysis चल रही है. Now again, guys, on the left summary, on the right you get details. right? Diversification sector, so on a sector level, right? High diversification is to the lifestyle sector, right? I can click on full details and see a complete analysis. कि कौन अभी की lifestyle में 54% है, but Jubilant Food is essentially that company. IT sector में I have a few IT companies, out of which maximum allocation is to Infosys. The rest of them are insignificant. उनका returns क्या है, right? What is their unrealized gain and loss looking like, and what is their gain contribution, right? All of it is available, right? So you keep in mind, guys, my top 3 holdings represent 95%, but I have so many companies. I have a lot of tail stocks in my portfolio. Okay, we've gone back, right? Okay, now diversification on market cap level, it's very straightforward. आपका market cap level पे आपका break क्या हो रहा है, and top holdings, right? It's very simple, very straightforward. आप ये तो पढ़ लोगे आपको समझ में आएगा. कि for those people who don't understand, who don't know what tail stocks are, tail stock essentially represent companies that जिनका holding value is below 1% of the portfolio value, right? Are categorized as tail stocks. So I have 47 tail stocks in my portfolio, which is beyond bizarre. Like, what am I doing? By the way, this behavior right here is basically me. So this is, by the way, a lot of people might be doing this. मैं एक कंपनी खरीदूंगा फॉर ट्रैकिंग पर्पसेस. ये मुझे देखना क्या होता है. मेरे दोस्त ने बताया, मैंने खरीद लिया. ऐसे करके मैंने पूरा मार्केट ही खरीद लिया. In this case 50 obviously is not the market, but I have done that. Similarly, a lot of people also do this where यार I've seen one company, I like it, but I've seen another company, I like that also. I've seen like ऐसा करके मैंने 50 companies that my colleague has mentioned, ये company is very good, I don't know what to buy, मैंने सब खरीद लिया. This is a bad approach, and I am a classic example of that. That's why I hold 46 tail stocks, right? Okay, the next 4, I think we've covered diversification, liquidity, risk, and return. The next 3 are straightforward. It's looking at the quality of the companies, of the holding companies that you have. It has the valuation of the what is the valuation of the holding companies that you have, the financial trend, what is it looking like. I know, guys, it's getting a bit late. We'll wrap it up quickly. My team is essentially highlighting that, wrap it up quickly, so we'll do it quickly, right? And at the bottom you have a full tax report. Essentially, keep in mind that it's not just on paper. You can also see what is the short-term capital gains tax looking like, how many of them are qualifying, none of the stocks, portfolio stocks, will complete 1 year in the next 3 months. It's telling you how many of them are about to jump over to that long-term or over to the long-term capital. How many of these how many of your portfolio stocks are about to go to that long-term capital asset bracket, right? And so on. Average age क्या है आपका portfolio का, and so on, right? So this is your portfolio. Full portfolio analysis done. It's not a low-level portfolio analysis. आपको अभी analysis में, the beauty of analysis is now, ठीक है, कि portfolio is not doing that well. It's an analysis. अभी करूँ क्या इसका, right? Keep in mind the score that we are looking at right here is essentially a score that is built up based on the portfolio construction of your portfolio as well as the stock you own in your portfolio. I'm doing horrible, right? मैं करूँ क्या? See, it is throwing right at me, right? And guys, keep in mind that for a paid user, if you are a Mojo, if you are a subscriber to our platform, you will find this option. Replacing 15 stocks is going to drastically improve my portfolio performance. Great, right? Action this now, right? आप analysis तो कर दिया, अभी करना क्या है? मतलब what is the point of doing this? Analyzing a portfolio is not going to do much. It's not going to add value to you unless you take action. And this is the action, right? This is, by the way, our optimizer, our portfolio optimizer. Now I have directly done this. You can also access this platform. Just need to go to the portfolio section and right here, personal portfolio optimizer. You can click on it and you'll get to the entire section. I've jumped through the entire process and I've come right here. Essentially, it's telling me आपको ये companies hold करने हैं, ये review करना पड़ेगा. I don't have any companies to review for trimming, and I need to quickly consider 46 companies, guys, for switching, right? I will have a tax liability if I go through with this. And keep in mind that it is not like it's up to you. We are giving you, we are essentially giving you an option. You can also go and, let's say I don't want to, I want to change, I'll keep it very simple. I don't want to hold these companies. I can just move these companies to review, okay, and so on. It's very straightforward, काफ़ी simple है, drag and drop का element है sir. You can give this a shot. You best way is to basically learn essentially where you're going wrong on a portfolio level, right? You might have those winning stocks in your portfolio, but if it's not done properly, if the construction is not well done properly, right? If you're extremely diversified, if you're not, if you have a extremely concentrated portfolio, right? This is the right way. Essentially, it will set you in the right direction, right? In this case, let's say I'm not making any changes. I click on continue. It's reviewing my portfolio, right? Suggestions for the portfolio. अभी मेरे को बता दिया कि review क्या करना है, क्या consider करना चाहिए बेचने के लिए, hold करने के लिए, and trimming के लिए. And now what are the alternatives? मैं खरीदूँ क्या अभी, right? And these are the options that come to me, right? In this case, I'll keep on continuing. Cash remaining मेरा इतना है after I complete the entire process. And this is basically the final page. Now your portfolio after all the changes that you have made. My allocation to large cap has gone down from 94% to 89%. Mid cap में exposure आ रहा है. Holdings is just 4 companies across 4 sectors and so on. And I can save it as PDF, but in this case, I will keep on continuing. So trade deal sheet, we can have this and send it to your broker, right? And you can start over. Basically, this is what I've done. Now, guys, today we have, just to recap, we have learned how to research a company. We have learned how to get in a deeper analysis or deeper understanding of what your portfolio is looking like and how to fix them, right? I would say if you are a premium user, if you have not tried these out, I would implore you, please go try these out. Try out where you stand in your portfolio level. And the portfolio analyzer is available for everyone. So please go try this out. Keep in mind, my team is mentioning that we only have a few slots remaining. Take advantage. This won't be available once it's very likely that the discounts are going to go and the discount rates are going to fall, meaning price बढ़ने वाला है. Mojo Professional available for $79.99, and you get 3 years out of that. And Mojo One also you get for $24.999 for 1 year, and you get 2 years free, right? You will find the link in the description. Just scroll down and you will find the link right there. And if you need any help, you can send me an email at kevin@marketsmojo.com. We'll do a short Q&A. I hope I have some questions. I'm hoping I have some questions, and let's take these questions on. Bigger on difference between Mojo Pro and Mojo One, Mr. Pinkle. All right. So Mojo so we have two for everyone. We have 2 packages. We have Mojo Professional and Mojo One. Mojo One essentially has 3 strategies that are available. And these 3 strategies are your hidden turnaround strategies. The strategies I was referring to you guys throughout the webinar. The hidden turnaround strategies, a very aggressive set of strategies. Then you have reliable performers and momentum. Now, essentially, the only differentiator between these 2 packages is that the inclusion of these 3 strategies. The rest essentially is the same. I hope I answered your question. If you still have any follow-up questions, you can just send an email to me. My email is kevin@marketsmojo.com. Let's have the next question, please. Trend is a friend and it matters a lot. I suggest MarketsMojo add one more dot for trend and recommend accordingly. So, Mr. Gupta, right? You might have missed the earlier point. I'll just share my screen. I'll just tell you essentially where we are capturing trend. Hopefully, you can take advantage of that. If you could, thank you. Okay, let's go to the financial trend. So as I highlighted before, we are evaluating the companies based on 4 factors. The third factor that we're evaluating is the financial trend. These are looking at the latest quarterly results and looking how it is doing, comparing it against its last results, and seeing what is the trend looking like. Now, in this case, the financial trend is looking outstanding for this company. Similarly, we also have another short-term driver. We are looking at the technicals of the company. Again, these are not intraday calls. This is the long-term trend of the company from a technical standpoint, from a price perspective. So we are covering these, but again, your feedback is appreciated. And Mr. Gupta, was it? Yeah. And do check them out. And if you have any more feedback on that, please write to me. My email ID is kevin@marketsmojo.com. Another question, please. What is a quartile and how it to understand? Mr. Raju. Okay, quartile is quartile is quite interesting. If you just, it's very straightforward and self-explanatory. There we go. It's, if you just get the chance to read this, quartile analysis gives you a quick view of the performance with its peers, right here, against the industry and overall market, right? All of these are available right here. Essentially, the companies are bucketed into 4 quartiles. Quartiles 25%, right? Each consisting of 25% of the companies, right? Let's say, for example, perfect. The example is also written right here. If there are 20 companies in the industry, the top 5 returns giving companies would be bucketed in the first quartile. I'll give you another example. There are 100 companies, right? आपने ये 100 companies को आपने split किया on a 25 companies level. So there are 1 to 25 companies, that's your first quartile, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. आपने ये companies को split कर दिया ये buckets में, buckets/quartiles, right? And but ये quartile में कैसे आएगा? इसके performance के basis आएगा, right? So the first quartile is basically looking at your companies that have the best performance. Like in the industry, first to 25 companies जिनके performance बहुत बढ़िया है, they'll be in the first quartile. Now that is basically what quartiles are. So I hope I answered your question. You can also look at the section. We have a lot of information icons right above the cards. You can get right here. So आप यहाँ पे click करके देख सकते हो. In the industry का भी it's very similar. You can just have a deeper understanding of what this is. Okay. Another question. Can we create a portfolio for mutual fund as well? Yes, Mr. Chetan, you can create a portfolio for mutual fund as well. It's all you have to do is just share my screen, please. All you have to do is go to the fund section right here and go to the research section, to the mutual fund section. Let me just import holdings. Oh, sorry. Funds, import holdings. Click here. Essentially, you'll be redirected to the Mojo MF, and essentially you can upload your CAM statement, or you're just using your number. Essentially, you can get this ready, right? My colleague Harshish, she's the person who's leading the mutual fund section department, is going to do a webinar quite soon. She will also be covering this, so stay tuned for that. Do we have any more questions? No. Okay. So I think we have run out of questions. Really appreciate these questions, and next time I hope that you have a lot more questions. I mean, we just go to the platform, all the info that I have given to you, just take advantage of this, and I hope, as I started, I'm concluding, I hope you extracted as much value, or at least you know how to extract as much value from the product as possible, and I wish you the best of luck. And if you have any questions, Kevin@marketsmojo.com. You can approach me there. I'm not sharing my number. I don't want weirdos calling me, but my email is available. I'll get back to you. I'll surely get back to you. All right. Godspeed and good luck. All right.